When you're doing things from a place of this is what I honestly think is the best choice for me and everybody who's involved in the deal, then other people are able to trust you too.
The reason why Annmarie and I feel so strongly about this topic or being able to talk around these ideas is because we often think that strategy is the most important thing to success in a business, like a real estate business. Meaning if I just learn the right things, logistically, learn the right tactics, the right techniques, then I'll be successful. And certainly there's a place for strategy in a business to be successful. Like that's got to be there. But your overall success, the strategy part is actually much less of what goes into success than we tend to want to think about or believe actually. The majority of it really goes back to your mindset and what you're bringing to the business.
So I want to share with you guys a little bit about the 3 stages of development. And so there's pretty much 3 different objectives or reasons that you have to do what you do. So we have talked about like the different personality types that you have. This is something a little bit different than the motivation behind your personality, but this is more just generally why you do what you do. A stage 1 is somebody who does things for just to satiate any impulsive, like bodily kind of needs that you have. So when you're thinking about an adult that is still in a stage 1 development, personal development, they're struggling with a lot of addictions. They are not being able to save any money. They're living paycheck to paycheck.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, instant gratification. So any
very impulsive
impulse, which I've talked to you guys before about the 3 main objectives of your nervous system, which is to survive, to have pleasure, and to reproduce. And whether that's actually reproducing cells, it's also just reproducing whatever the brain's own idea is and wanting to find validation for that. And so somebody who's in stage 1 development is only thinking about satiating that monkey brain. And
which by the way, sorry to interrupt you, by the way, these are developmentally normal, meaning a kid, a toddler, and a child starts in stage 1.
Yeah,
it's normal. And
I think there's even times where you might be in some stage 3 level as an adult in one area, and you haven't quite figured out how to be stage 3 in a different area of your life.
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So stage 1 is definitely, I mean, you could think of it too, like teens a lot just are reacting in their impulses, whatever it is that their body is pressuring them to do, whether it's even in the forms of outbursts of anger, even if it's not like an appropriate time, you're just having a really hard time to be able to regulate what you do in a longer term perception. It's more just like, this is what I need to do because it's what kind of somebody triggered me and I'm just going to respond.
So it's very selfish, self-centered.
Right. It's self-centered. There's no control. It is reactionary and it's victim mindset because you don't feel like you can control anything. You just feel like, well, somebody flipped me off and I can't help it. It's totally normal and understandable that you're going to get angry, but it's the mindset that I can't control them, that I flip them back off. And maybe you do decide it's for the greater good that they get flipped back off, but at least you know you're in control and you're choosing that reaction versus you literally can't control yourself.
The statistics said that 80% of violent crimes, the perpetrator was in a victim perpetrator position, meaning
that's what they think.
Yeah, meaning I did this violent crime because somebody had wronged me. I was entitled to do this thing because I was treated poorly or treated wrong or they deserved it. So it was coming from a place of I'm a victim and I'm retaliating from this victim position. And I found that fascinating that it's this justification.
It's victim mindset.
It's a very impulsive reaction that somebody did something to me, I'm going to do something back.
I'm now entitled to behave just as badly as what I just saw.
Yeah.
Because it was done to me first. I'm a victim to the impulses. Great example. So the impulsive version with money, I think we talked about that a little bit. That's the extreme version would be gambling or spending all of your money without thinking ahead of how it is that you want to, save it, be able to set money aside for house payment or rent or food, and just very impulsive, just using it on what you want right in that very moment, instead of thinking long term. And in work also, there's a lot of stage one mindsets that have to do with like being an employee, being a victim to even having to work, that your impulse of your body is telling you, I just want to relax. I just want to be entitled to having an easy life. And so you become a victim to whatever employment that you have. And so that's one of those stage one level kinds of thinking that I want you guys to be able to be thinking about in the way that you're relating to making money. And so if you have a little bit of a victim mindset, even around that you shouldn't have to make money, that you are a victim to needing to make money, that is probably not a very healthy mindset that's going to actually let you earn what you really could, because it's more about, feeling resentment. You don't show up the best.
Or even that you should make more money, or that you're entitled to having a business or having a higher paying job. It's this idea around, I deserve this, I'm entitled to this. Mm-hmm. Stage one is very much entitlement driven.
Right. Yeah.
That fits well with that victim idea.
Yeah. So if stage one is impulsive, stage two is inhibiting those impulses. And so you start to develop a little bit more, and you can, think about your child who likes to, at first they run around naked just because it feels good to run around naked. And then all of a sudden around, age 5 or so, they start to be like, oh, wait, I need to wear some clothes. But the reason that they're wearing clothes is not because they're thinking, oh, I want to direct my sexuality in an intentional kind of way. They just have this awareness that other people maybe are going to make fun of them being naked. And it's more from a place of that they will be embarrassed.
So it's a social awareness, right, that starts to set.
Yeah. So it turns into the motivation, and the reason that we do things is because of a transactional idea. It's other validated, it's role based. So
relating to other people.
Right. Yeah. So the reason that you do everything, if we went through all of those things that we just talked about, your relationships, social, sexual, spiritual, health, education, money, and work, it's pretty much that the reason that you do what you do in all of those is because of how you perceive other people in the tribe are going to think about you. So it's definitely more developed in that you're not just reacting to your impulses anymore, but it's still not fully developed to stage 3, which is integrating these bodily impulses that we do have, but we do them from an internal motivation because it's what we really honestly think is right and good and the best situation for us and those around us, that we're doing it for that reason versus doing it for how we will be perceived by other people.
So stage 3 is really being able to, you use the word integrate, but what it is it's being able to bring awareness to these different areas and then be very intentional about what you want those things to be in your life. It's really giving meaning to those areas and saying, how do I want to show up around money or around whatever the thing is? And so it's really moving away from any kind of victim role, or even any kind of like stage 2 would be, there's a right way, there's a wrong way. It's go to church because if I don't, I'm going to hell, versus really kind of being more intentional. What do I want my spirituality to be? What do I want my relationship with God to be? What do I want my relationship with my wife or my kids or money? How do I take these things that are normal parts of life, and how do I take this part of me that is very human, very raw, that's got a monkey brain that's going to be very
nervous system,
directed by what happens, and this frontal cortex I have that gives meaning and morality and purpose. And how do I really bring that forward and show up in a way that I can have self-respect about, that I can feel good about, have integrity about? What can I go to sleep at night and say, you know what, I'm really proud of, I feel really good about the way I'm showing up in my life as a father or as a business owner or whatever it might be. And so that's stage 3. So stage 3 is most people in life never achieve stage 3.
They don't realize.
Most people live life in stage 1 in a lot of areas, and at best stage 2. So what Annmarie's kind of helping you bring to your awareness, and what we kind of want to talk to you about, is how do you really show up in your life in a stage 3 place? And it doesn't happen overnight, but the awareness of it allows you to start to really ask these questions. And when you ask the question, how can I show up more in stage 3 in my finance, for example, then just asking that question puts you now in the driver's seat, because now you're saying, I'm aware of this, I'm conscious of this, and now I'm going to start making decisions. I'm going to start forming habits that are going to lead me more into a stage 3 way of living life. Well, and that's powerful.
It is. It's so powerful. And like, even the reason of why to be coming at things from a stage 3 is just because the amount of integrity that you feel when you know that you're doing things not just based on what other people are going to think of you, not based on just what your body's telling you, but when you're doing things from a place of, this is what I honestly think is the best choice for me and everybody who's involved in the deal. Your confidence that you have in the way that you present yourself, first of all, is just more successful. Other people have the skills with their nervous system to be able to map whether or not they should trust you. And when you trust you, because you know you're doing things not to satiate somebody else, but because you honestly feel like it's the most right thing, then other people are able to trust you too. And there's a synergy that happens. There's a collaboration that happens with other people. You really are able to get a good night's sleep, because even when things don't go how you want them to, you know that your direction, your motivation, it has goodness involved in it. It has intention and choice, and it's not, you feel a lot of control. And that actually is even something that your monkey brain wants, is control. But the problem is that we look for those feelings of control and satiation in the wrong places. We look for them more in just trying to satiate impulses than actually take control of our life. And the real control is only within ourselves. It's just fruitless to try to focus on how other people should or shouldn't be. And so when you're in a stage 3 level of thinking, you're in a deep conviction and just a deep motivation to be discerning and really aware of what is the best situation, logistic wise and your motivation wise.
Learning how to live in true integrity with real intention, like Annmarie said, with that confidence that you believe with your whole heart that what you're doing, the way you're showing up, the way you're living your life is with your best intention, best integrity, then that draws. That's a draw. Yeah. People want to be around that.
My life experience changes based on what I achieve, but my worth doesn't change based on what I achieve. And when you can hold on to that belief, then you are going to discern what it is that you need to do and why you need to do it from a much more honest place, because you're not desperately trying to prove yourself. We get so distracted about the anxiety that we feel that we can't really actually discern what needs to be done. And you guys are going to need to develop your decision-making skills to be able to put the kinds of deals together that you want to. And when things start to go wrong and you've got to come up with creative solutions, you've got to come up with creative finance, you've got to be able to work with people. The superpower that you guys have the opportunity to be able to truly see with Jerry is his risk management, his anxiety management. And I think a lot of people are attracted towards him because he is really good at explaining the logistics. But we feel a lot more safe just learning about logistics than actually practicing and exercising the muscle that really will allow you to practice and start doing new things, like learning how to swim, learning how to put together scary deals that might not go the way that we planned. The way that we do that is actually through just practicing feeling anxiety. But you guys are not going to be motivated to feel that anxiety unless you see the goodness in doing things from a stage 3 perspective, doing things just for goodness sake versus doing things because it's impulsive or doing things because it's what other people think that you should do.
All right, guys. Awesome. Thank you, Annmarie, for sharing this. This was really great. I hope you guys enjoyed this and got a lot of value out of this.
Really fun.
I think really understanding these stages and being aware of them and conscious of them and bringing them to the forefront is really powerful. So thank you, guys. And we'll see you again, same time next week.
Yeah, same time,
awesome.
same place. We'll talk some more.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon.